Welcome back to Invest Global. Today we'll be discussing a bit of a crypto market outlook as we enter in the second half of August, moving into September from here in beautiful Venice, Italy. The main focus will be Cardano. Now, very interesting things going on with Cardano. There's a lot of things going on with this Alanzo hard fork. I'll basically be explaining the soft fork versus a hard fork, what this means with Cardano and their proof of stake consensus algorithm. Actually, what's really interesting is Charles Hoskinson, basically the founder of Cardano. Obviously, it's a decentralized project. So when you're looking at a centralized authority, I love that Charles is kind of open to the community, right? So he does these surprise AMAs. He's very transparent about everything that is going on. And he had one at the time of recording this. It is Italy time around noon. And this was about 18 hours ago. So just yesterday. And at this exact time frame, I'll have this video linked down below in the description. He actually talks about how Alanzo should be rolled out on September 12th. Now, there are some concerns about this just based on network activity. Sometimes you have to really analyze when you're going to actually be doing a hard fork because it changes some things going on with the networks. Nodes have to kind of upgrade, all these different things I'll be talking about further in today's video. But highly recommend you check this out so you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth or whatever that saying is, right from the founder. But I'm going to be talking about kind of the market outlook and then moving into some of these other things. So along with technical analysis, basically what's really interesting here on the 7-day chart, or kind of a trend that I've been watching, is yes, everything is very correlated in this market, and mainly to Bitcoin and a bit to Ethereum, right? But this past 7-day price pattern has been very interesting because look at Binance and look at Cardano. Kind of interesting, right? So we saw a bit of a kind of W here where we bottomed out a bit, a little bit of dip here. Same here with Bitcoin. Now with Ethereum, it was a further dip. Bitcoin, further dip. With Binance, a little bit correlated, but look at this with Cardano. Really just pushed up from there, just kind of been in this rising wedge, and we really haven't busted down out of these. Now, if you look at the rest of the market, the most of these, now, I don't like to use Doge as an example, so let's move down here to Polkadot. Let's look at Uniswap. Let's look at Solana. What do these all look like? Interesting, Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So these are patterns that you kind of need to pick up on, starting to identify some of these trends, especially if you're trading in this market. I have a full free course. I saw a ton of people out there kind of in the crypto space or stock space or Forex space charging thousands of dollars for a technical analysis course. I have a free course on this channel just called Global TA. It's not, you don't even have to leave YouTube. It's literally down below in the description. It's a playlist, Global TA, 8-part series, 8 modules going through basically A to Z, exactly what you know to understand capital markets, how to make money in capital markets, whether it's trading commodities, stocks, Forex, just the fundamentals of technical analysis. So all those things and more in that. And then if we look here, basically we see this peak up here that we saw kind of at the top of the market there. Let's see, it was around that, 2.46 mark. And that was in, when was that? Yeah, May of 21, when everything kind of topped out there. This is kind of the next level that I'm personally watching. Whenever you do something like a Fibonacci extension, it kind of helps you identify these when you go swing high to swing low. So we have the top of the market right there. We just pull this down to the bottom. If we're looking at a retracement versus a push up, that's kind of what you would want to look for. So around that, like July 21, we kind of bottomed out at this key support level right here, which is right around the dollar mark, and topped out right here. So that's basically when you're using a Fibonacci retracement, which I talked about in Global TA, how you can analyze these different price levels. So for example, right here, we have you want to look at these kind of like main 3, I would say. Those are good ones to look at. And then you could also do an inverse if you're looking at a retracement. So beyond this, this is basically what we've seen going on. I mean, it's been a pretty parabolic move towards the upside. We should see some sort of a correction. This is kind of where it gets really choppy, kind of in this area in between the 1.8 and the 1.4. But that's where, if it falls back to those levels, that would be a potential retracement back down to the 1.4 level. But from here, most likely what we'll see is some sort of move kind of leading up to this September hard fork to these levels of 2.4 and potentially a rejection off of those if everything gets rolled out successfully and kind of the overall trajectory of the market continues to be bullish. I think we could definitely see higher highs, right? So another thing you want to definitely look at is some indicators. So I like to use the Bollinger Bands. We really blasted off all of these exponential moving averages. If we're looking at the 20-day, this red line here, the 50-day, really just took off from there, especially after we kind of retested right here. So what you could look for is potentially, leading up to this, like I said, a bit of a pull back down, especially if we see some of these in the larger market cap projects. Cardano's what we're at $68 billion, close to $69 billion, and we're seeing with Bitcoin and Ethereum we have $387 billion. $895 billion, pretty insane. So those definitely drag the market. There's no doubt about that when you just look at overall market dominance. But I would be watching for a bit of a retest potentially off this 20-day moving average. Beyond this, I did want to talk about, first of all, if you're looking for updates on Cardano, kind of leading up to this whole Alanzo thing, which is this next part of the video, definitely recommend following them on Twitter at Cardano. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at InvestGlobal_IO. We also have a Telegram group, like-minded investors, talking about global investment strategies, link down below in the description. So if we're looking here, we can see very, very basic things here on a CoinMarketCap. Not my favorite site to use, but it's just simple for videos. You can see, the sentiment is there, right? I talked about this in the How to Do Your Own Research video on altcoins, link down below in the description. Sentimental, fundamental, technical, and on-chain analysis. All these different things, kind of digging into the white paper, digging into the community, seeing how active they are. And Cardano definitely has an active and viral community. So beyond this, as I was going to say, so with any hard fork, what you have to understand with a network is a blockchain looks something like this, right? It's literally a series of blocks. It might sound kind of basic, but a blockchain, I'm just going to lay it out for you. Basically looks like this. You have blocks, and as using Bitcoin for an example, every 10 minutes a new block is formed. This block basically represents all the transactions that happen in this network in a set period of time. So every 10 minutes, a new block is formed, and they're appended to the blockchain. So you could say it looks like this, and we'll duplicate this real quick, and it looks like this. I'm just drawing this out so I can use it for a hard fork representation. So basically, in this way, this is cementing stamps in history, right? So the way that the blockchain is able to realize, okay, who has what in their different wallets is based on all these past blocks in history. So if someone in the very, very first block of Cardano, the very, very first block of Ethereum, or the very, very first block of Bitcoin did a transaction and they haven't done anything yet. So like, let's say, multiply this by whatever, a million, and you have all these different blocks. You can just see this continued on, all these different transactions. Anything past in history, basically nodes look back to throughout the whole blockchain network. This is how they kind of run the whole algorithm. I have more in-depth video on this. I don't want to get too complicated here, but that's how they can tell what is actually in the wallet, right? So it's all verified on the blockchain. It's kind of like stamped in time in concrete. You can almost think about it, right? Like it's permanently out there on the blockchain where you can verify, okay, this wallet, you sent one BTC to another wallet. This other wallet has never sent it, right? So even since, let's say, like 2012, this other wallet has never sent it. Now in 2021, if this wallet wants to go and transact with this one BTC that's still at that address, at that private key, and they go, okay, this public key is still holding this one BTC that they got sent in, 2012. Now they can still transact it in 2021, right? So that's a very, very basic understanding of this. Now, with a hard fork, what does this mean? Well, there's a certain set of rules. For example, ERC20 has a different set of rules for the Ethereum network. And throughout this whole blockchain, so throughout this whole system here, each of these new blocks that get built on the blockchain have to basically filter through these different set of rules. So the block size, things like this, things like, okay, how is this, like the London hard fork, for example, with Ethereum? I made a short on this when I was in Slovenia. How are these transactions getting processed? How's the fee system working? Is it an auction-based fee system or is it a fixed-based fee system? It was previously auction, now it's a fixed-based fee system, so it's a bit more predictable and it helps with scalability of the network. That's one thing that I also talked about in that short was blockchain trilemma. Some of these things that each different blockchain has to work with, which Cardano does a great job of addressing them all, by the way. And what you have to understand again with Cardano, which, okay, blockchain trilemma, decentralization, scalability, security. Those kind of the main three things. And again, Cardano, the main thing that they haven't built yet is the smart contracts, right? So that's what Alanzo is all about. They've made it so you can actually issue assets on the blockchain. That's how you see different assets on the Cardano blockchain. But now with this Alanzo hard fork, essentially what's going to happen is it's going to look something like this, okay? So boom. This old blockchain, this old set of rules is going to have to adapt to this new set of rules, okay? So let's say on September 12th, this happens, and the concern kind of was, so let's just use blue as Alanzo and flip this just for fun to blue, or this to blue, boom. Okay, so this is Alanzo, right? So this new set of rules, this new set of paradigms in a hard fork, what happens is all these nodes need to adapt to this, right? So they need to change. It's like this criteria, right? So you can't get into the club. You can't append new blocks to the blockchain, which again will as every new block is formed, it'll just look like this. Every single transaction that happened in this set period of time, can't remember the exact set of time with Cardano, to be quite honest, but just using BTC as the example, we have this different set of time of 10 minutes per block, right? So this is just programmatic. Boom, every 10 minutes a new block is formed. You can't go back and change these old blocks, right? So all you can do is innovate moving forward. And with this is a hard fork, right? So a hard fork basically is meaning anyone who's still running these old set of rules cannot be part of this new system, right? So this basically cuts it off. Now, it can fork, like, for example, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, but with Cardano, essentially, I mean, they'll probably honestly end up being a Cardano Classic, to be 100% honest with you. But they've done all these tests, they've done all these peer reviews, they've used things like the Plutus testnet, which is very, very interesting what they're doing there, similar with like Canary with Polkadot. And the main thing you want to understand is all the nodes need to update to this, right? So when Alanzo rolls out and you're able to have this really more programmatic aspects, which you have some currently, but they're able to kind of go full force, everyone's going to need to update. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. The London hard fork did pretty well. And yeah, so that's pretty much all. I just kind of wanted to lay out the very, very basic things. Basically, a soft fork is a bit different because a soft fork is kind of, it's softer, right? So it's a little bit of a kind of a less cut and dry, less black and white set of rules. Rather, it's adding new features to the network. So you can still technically process transactions. For example, if we're using this as a soft fork, and let's just use this as an example. Let's go. Let me draw a block here. Let's say we were doing a soft fork, and it looked like this. Let me get rid of this, and we'll use green as the soft fork, and we wanted to do this. So technically, the nodes running this blockchain right here could still process transactions, could still add them if they fell into the set of rules that were parts of basically that weren't going against this new rules. But now there's a new set of transactions where there's more of an incentive to kind of move towards this, right? And as more soft forks form, different things happen. Again, this is a very, very basic introduction. I can do a deep dive video on this, but I'm trying to keep it very, very surface level and not use too much technical speak. If you're curious on that, let me know in the comments down below. Also, as I said, join the Telegram group. Besides that, I mean, not much else. I'm very, very excited for this Alanzo, seeing what's going to go on with this hard fork. That's all for this video. Again, highly recommend checking out this surprise AMA with Charles Hoskinson, Invest Global. And until next time, like the video, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date, hit the notification bell, and click all. Till next time.